good reasons to come to Seattle, and that 37 of them were the local brew pubs. At the time, I felt that this statement required further research, and I took the hard decision to delegate the task of determining if Seattle was fit for you in terms of brew pubs. And I delegated that job to the one person I knew that would do it seriously, myself. This noble cause meant that other, less pressing tasks fell to members of our organising committee. And I would like to take this opportunity to introduce them to you so that you can express your gratitude for all the hard work they have done in ensuring the success of this conference. First of all, I'd like to mention two people who cannot be with us: Rezi Zarb, the DIS meetings chair, and Bernard Moron, who's vice chair of this conference. Rezi's support has been invaluable in contract negotiations and also the printing of conference materials. And Bernard is working very hard organising next year's conference, which will be in Montreal between the 19th and 22nd of June. Although they're not here, I think we should take this opportunity to express our thanks for all of their hard work. And so we move on to members of the committee that are here, and I'd like to get them to stand up and I'll explain exactly what they've done. And my first two members of the committee are Howard Penrose and Kevin Alwyn. So Howard is responsible for the EIC website, and Kevin looks after publications. Their work ensures that running up to the conference you have access to the latest information, and once here receive proceedings in a variety of formats. And I'd like to thank you both. Thank you. Then it's on to Nancy Frost and Eric Davies. So if you required a visa to attend, then Nancy has come to your aid. And if you're a graduate student in receipt of a student stipend, then you need to thank Eric for organising the process and then selecting you to receive an award. Thank you both. Next up is Mark Winkler and Ina Kremser. So EIC is not just about technical sessions. This year Mark took care of our exhibition and Ina has organised the short course programme. And again, I'm very grateful. Thank you. And then two fellows who have worked extremely hard. That's Ramtin Ramnipur and William Chen. What can I say about our technical co-chairs? If you are an author or a reviewer, then you know how hard they have worked to ensure that we have a very good technical programme. And we're all very grateful for that. Thank you. And now our treasurer. Steph Bombam, please stand up. Treasurers are a unique breed.
Really?
They always seek the best value for the money that they've had responsibility for, and Steph is definitely no exception. Indeed, I think that at some time in the far, far future, Steph may find himself stood at the pearly gates, bargaining with St. Peter over entry, and the debate will end with Steph uttering those two words. You know, the two words that are the international distress signal for a treasurer under extreme duress. How much? much. Thank you, Steph, for looking after our finances. Now we get to the actual conference itself, and I'd like Liz Tillotson and Nikki Lewin to please stand up. So Liz has looked after all issues to do with your registration and worked with Nikki on our local arrangements, supported by our local arrangements team. I don't know if you've noticed them, they blend in the background, they wear black shirts. And I'd like to ask them to stand up. So that's the audio-visual team. Where are you? Matt, come on.
Yeah, come on.
And the registrations team. All of them have worked really hard to make sure that this week runs smoothly, and along with the wonderful staff of the hotel, we've also worked hard to make your time here as enjoyable as possible. I'd like to thank Liz, Nikki and the local arrangements team. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Paul.
Did you forget your glass of wine?
I'm not used to this.
Yeah, you need mine?
I hope everybody has enjoyed their dinner, and it's been a great conference. And I believe Lillian and I, as the co-technical chair of this conference, had the great pleasure of working with the authors, and I would like to take this opportunity and thank the authors for their great contribution to the conference. So, thank you for submitting papers, and thank you for being patient with us, and thank you for coming and presenting your paper and having great discussions with the attendees. I would also like to take this opportunity and thank the experts that support us in reviewing the papers. They have been a very great help, and I'm very grateful for their assistance. Again, thank you to all for coming to the conference, presenting your paper, and thank you for the reviewers. Some of them, they couldn't be with us, and it's a long list of the reviewers, and I just want to thank everybody, and thank you very much. And with that, I'll hand it over to Greg to present the Golden Omega Award. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Greg Stone, and I'm here because I'm the chair of the Board of Governors for this conference. And I have the easy part. Paul has to do, and his team have to do all the real work. I just give away the awards. And so that's what we're going to do now. The first one I'd like to do, I'm going to give away two awards tonight. First one is the Golden Omega Award, and the second one will be the John Tanaka Distinguished Leadership Award. The person I will be introducing as the representative, or as the winner of the 2015 Golden Omega Award, is Dr. Susan Graham. As you can see from, you've all got, hopefully, the Banquet handout. And you can see that the Golden Omega Award has a long list of distinguished awardees. The Golden Omega Award is out there to recognize outstanding leadership in business or education. This award is a joint project, really, of the Electrical Installation Conference and NEMA, the National Electrical Manufacturers Association, which is why Admiral Cosgriff is here and John Macario is here, representing NEMA. You can see that there's many amazing people have won this award in the past, but I'm really happy to introduce to you this year's award winner, Dr. Susan Graham. She is the president and CEO of Atlantis PDG Incorporated, which is a major manufacturer of insulation materials for electrical equipment. And of course, given the name of our conference, the Electrical Insulation Conference, of course, this is extremely relevant to this conference, and probably the most relevant award winner we've ever had into this group. Again, you can read the details of Dr. Graham's accomplishments in the handout, but I'd just like to summarize that she has a PhD in analytical chemistry. It could have been electrical engineering. They're usually a little bit better. Her roots go back to the P.D. George Company, and in 2004 she was appointed the president and CEO of Atlantis PDG and has led the organization ever since. Her company has been recognized in many ways. Some of them include Business of the Year in St. Louis, one of the top workplaces to be employed in, and Dr. Graham was also selected as one of the most influential business women. Okay, she is very passionate about her company. We've had a number of discussions over the last few days, and so what I'd like to do now is ask you up here so I can formally give you this plaque. Okay? Smile this long. Okay, good. One more, Greg. Oh, another one. Thank you. Okay.
Good evening. I want to thank IEEE for recognizing me with this Golden Omega Award. When I look at the list of distinguished people that have been awardees ahead of me, my first thought was, wow, they made a mistake. But I am truly honored and humbled to be included with that distinguished group of awardees. I'd also like to thank my family, who never lets me do anything less than my best. And most of all, I'd like to thank the people of Atlantis PDG, who all share my passion for being a world-class supplier of electrical insulation to our industry. And as I thought about this speech, I thought, what would be the most important thing I could talk about? And I thought I really ought to address probably the biggest challenge to our industry. And so I started talking to people about what is the biggest challenge to our industry. And as I talked to people in the electrical industry, but also in construction and automotive and electronics, what's the biggest challenge to us? And almost to a person, I heard getting good talent, good young talent into our industry to make it viable. And you know, I agree with that. If we don't get viable talent into this industry, our industry will die instead of grow. So then I started talking I talked to college students and younger students a lot, both in classrooms and in mentoring situations, and I asked them, what do you want to do with your career? And the answer from them is nearly as universal. They want to make a difference. So, how do we make our industry appealing to young people? And how do we help students understand that they can make a difference in our industry? Well, I think the IEEE mission statement says it better than I could, because the mission statement says we want to foster technological innovation and excellence for the benefit of humanity. In fact, you can see the IEEE mission statement on the seed packets that are at your table. I'll be referring to them throughout the rest of the conversation. But this mission statement raises a couple of questions. Can one person make a difference in the way others, particularly young people, look at our industry, and if so, how? I happen to think that there are lots of ways we can have an impact, and I just want to share a few with you tonight. If I asked anyone in this room what the largest organism on Earth was, I might get a lot of different answers. But most often people say, well, the blue whale, of course. In fact, the largest organism on Earth is the Pando forest in Utah. The Pando forest is 100 acres of quaking aspen trees, and that's why this aspen leaf is on the front of here to remind you of the Pando forest. It's also probably the heaviest organism on Earth. It's estimated to weigh about 6,500 tons. And it's also probably the oldest organism on Earth because it has a single root system that all of these trees come from that keep it connected. And that forest has been destroyed multiple times throughout history, but it always comes back because of that connected root system. So when I think of our industry, I think in a lot of ways we're like that forest. We've got a strong connected root system. And my first call to action for the evening is get connected. All of you here have made that commitment already by being involved in this trade association. Think about it. Engineers, chemists, sorry, Greg, computer people, and others come together to make the electrical industry work. And it's amazing what we can do when we work together. Let me give you a recent example of what individuals in this industry can do when we work together. We recently heard at EPDG about a World Health Organization was looking at banning GBL because GBL is possible to use as a recreational intoxicant like alcohol. But there are actually no studies that prove it's ever been used that way. In our industry, GBL is a precursor, a raw material for NMP, which is a solvent for most magnet wire enamels. And it is the solvent that allows magnet wires to be coated at the very thin and very uniform coatings that are required for the electrical applications. One of our suppliers of NMP asked us to help keep this ban from happening since no other solvent works. I got on the phone with Clark Silcox of the NEMA organization, and I asked whether there was anything we could do to take some action. Clark put a message out to all of the section heads of all of the different sections and quickly assembled a group of technical and marketing people, and in a week they had put together a very solid argument. The World Health Organization received comments about the impact not only to our industry, but to the industries we serve, should GBL and therefore NMP be banned. Several other trade associations followed NEMA's lead and did the same thing. Now, when the World Health Organization looks to ban a material, they generally take two votes. The first vote is whether to vote or not. 99% of the time, that first vote is yes. But because industries like spandex, wine, chemicals, and the electro industry all sent very solid comments to the World Health Organization with very solid technical data, the first vote was no. So it shows you clearly what can be done when a number of organizations and a number of individuals get connected as an organism to make a difference. So, being involved in the technical sections of our trade association supports the sustainability of and the development of standards for our industry so we can continue to foster innovation and excellence. Okay, I hear you saying, yeah, Sue, but I live in Walla Walla, Washington, and I can't spend the time to go to NEMA or to IEEE to be involved in the sections. How can I make a difference? What can I do to help the industry? And to you I say, grow where you're planted. The only way to get connected is to have something to connect and to become that forest that I talked about that works together. Each of us, each of you, needs to grow where you're planted. Now, on the back of that seed packet, you'll see a corn stalk behind a fence. That corn stalk came from a single seed of corn that bounced out of a truck outside of our plant in St. Louis. It bounced onto our property, found a crack in the pavement, rooted itself, and grew to be over 4 feet tall. That little corn stalk reminded me that we all need to grow where we're planted and make a difference in our communities. At Atlantis PDG, we have a charity drive every month. The charities are chosen by our employees, with a preference given when an employee is actively involved in that charity, either as a volunteer or as a recipient of that charity's services. Employees can contribute money or goods that the charity needs, and anyone who contributes gets to wear a sticker that says, "I contributed," so everybody knows, and they get a chance at a prize drawing. The average donation isn't big on a monthly basis. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 in money and items. But you'd be surprised if you read the thank you notes that we get, how critical those donations are to the success of the charities. Making life a little easier for those in need hopefully helps them focus on something beyond surviving. And through our contributions, we hope we make it easier for children to continue their schooling so they can become productive members of the community. In addition, the reputation we have now as a caring and giving organization has actually been cited by more than one recent graduate who's joined us as one of the deciding factors that caused them to join our organization, because they felt like they could make a difference. So, grow where you're planted and get involved with local charities. But we all know it can't be just us that grows. I want to make one more appeal to you as individuals, and that is to ask you to plant a seed. What do I mean by planting a seed to help our industry grow? I mean personally get involved in your local school science programs, either as a science fair judge or talk to a class of students about how their science education can influence the world of electricity and electronics, or mentor a student who's considering a career in the sciences. First of all, it doesn't take much time. A few hours is all it takes to be involved in a science fair or to speak to a class, and a few more to mentor a student who's considering a career in the sciences. Second, the investment of your time is well worth it as you help students see science as more than just facts and figures. And you'll be amazed how easy it is to get involved. If you're interested, try www.sciencebuddies.org to find a group in your community, or just make a phone call to your local high school. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to have you help. From personal experiences, I can also tell you that when you plant these seeds, you definitely get more than you give. I often discover a new author or a book to read through my interactions with these young people whose tastes are different than mine, but are often enlightening. Most importantly, when you see a student's eyes light up as you demonstrate how engineers influence aerospace and automotive development, or how chemists impact smart devices, you can sense their excitement in the sciences. And when you look at our industry through their eyes, I guarantee you'll see it in a brand new light as well. So I want you to remember 3 things from my presentation. Remember the aspens in Utah and their massive roots, and get connected to our industry associations. To get there, remember my little corn stalk and grow where you're planted by getting involved in local charities, either as a volunteer or a contributor. And remember that it isn't just us that needs to grow. Plant a seed about our industry in a young person's mind as a science fair judge, a guest speaker, or a mentor. These 3 simple actions will help us all live the IEEE vision to foster technological innovation and excellence for the benefit of humanity. To help you remember my key points, I've added those phrases on the back of the packet here. And I've included the aspen leaf and the cornstalk picture on the seed packet, as well as seeds inside the packet. By the way, the directions, the seeds in the packet are for a flowering plant called a 4 o'clock, and the directions for their growth and care are inside the packet as well. I chose 4 o'clocks specifically because they're beautiful flowering plants, but also because even though they're annuals, every flower yields more seeds than the single seed that the plant came from. So it really reinforces my plant a seed, you'll get more than you give comment. Thank you again for this honor and for giving me the time tonight to share some of what I see as the ways to let people take root in our industry and grow. Thanks.